Hello, this is Insane Monster, and we are here for part 5 of What If Deku Was an Eliatrope. Now then, if you haven't watched the previous videos, I recommend you stop here and go watch the other videos. Now then, before anything else, do remember that we are starting the video off on the beginning of the Sports Festival's tournament portion. Also, if you look in the description below, you'll not only see the normal link to my beautiful Halo link for anime merch, but I am also more or less working for Amazon, and the link below will be able to guide you to a Discord server where it is named Merch for All, where a number of merchandise involving anime and non-anime things all over will be posted. Do keep in mind that not all the links have been placed. So, with all that said, please remember to like this video, and I do hope that you will like it as well as all the other videos I have planned, including the ones for the What If Lotto. I have enjoyed your support and appreciate it, so thank you all. With that, let's begin with this. Now then, when we last left off, the cavalry battle was all finished up, and everybody was getting a break. Well, everyone that was in the tournament. While all the other members of the hero course and such were able to do small games in order to showcase what they can do a little bit more. While everyone who made it into the tournament was thinking about their strategy. Due to different circumstances, different individuals did have some more practical training for things like combat and such, especially during the week off from the USJ attack. With that said, everyone's going over things about their opponents that they'll be matched up with for the first round, which is where Ojiro tells Izuku about Shinso's quirk, stating that all that he remembers is answering something that Shinso asked him. And when that was done, he just blacked out and doesn't even remember getting all the way to the tournament itself, which is why he bowed out. As Izuku has an idea, thinking that Shinso's quirk requires someone to verbally answer or respond to what he says, as he has somewhat of an idea what his quirk might be, as everyone else was thinking about what their game plan was for facing their opponents in the first round. Now then, as for the Midoriya house, we see Hisashi and Inko watching the screen as they're in anticipation, waiting to see how things turned out. Though, similar to his son, Hisashi has had a worry on his mind. After the USJ attack, he felt something fracture. Something like the space in where the USJ cracked open. Though it wasn't there anymore, there were still somewhat remnants of it. He wasn't familiar with what was going on. He thought someone from his home came here, but from what he could feel, it opened up to a different place altogether, which did worry him a bit. As we head over to the League of Villains, it seems that Kilby was able to find the League and make a deal with them, as he's setting up some stuff that is taking a while. He's making sure to set precautions just in case. As he takes a break, going over to Shigaraki, as he's hunched over looking at a computer showing the UA Sports Festival. Kilby smirks, stating, "Ah, I see. The half-breed is in the first round. Interesting." Shigaraki looking at Kilby, still somewhat frustrated, though understanding about how he got beaten by that kid. After giving an explanation from Kilby that he gave to Shigaraki, all for one, the doctor and Kurogiri about what they were, and about what he believes this Izuku Midoriya is. A half-breed that has been influenced through the mixture of a quirked human and this uh and their eliatrope bloodline and natural powers, hypothesizing that it's most likely that this is just his quirk boosting his already natural abilities of the eliotropes, though he wouldn't be as powerful or have the benefits of being one of the original 12. The original 12 are the first eliotropes and dragons, comprised of six eliotropes, six eliotropes and six dragons, their twin siblings, explaining that there is no dragon here due to the fact that there was no dragon to lay the egg, nor another that would, require two dragons to lay the egg referred to as a dophus, since a human woman wouldn't be able to lay something like that. As it is odd, but after showing some details using his portal abilities, he explains quite a few things, which they are willing to take advantage of. All for One did give him a regenerative quirk that helped regrew his arm. This wouldn't have been possible without the doctor's intervention helping the process go along smoother. As it turned out, the incredible energy of an immortal heliotrope like Kilby was just what he needed to bypass the restraints that he had from not having quirked human DNA in him. He also was given an energy conversion quirk that would allow him to absorb and transmute energy into other energy that he is familiar with. So, if he isn't familiar with electric shocks, if he gets electric shocked, he can absorb it then and then transfer it into Wakfu energy. Since energy can't be destroyed, it can only change form, which helps him quite a bit. Though, after what happened with his sister still in the dophus, he isn't too keen on going back. But there's no way he's going back to that white void, unless he can help it. As Kilby decides to sit next to Shigaraki, wanting to see what this half-breed can do. Which is when the tournament finally starts. As he enters the arena, eyeing down Shinso, Shinso begins to smack talk after midnight gives a signal to begin. He starts spouting off things about Izuku, stating how lucky he is to have such a flashy quirk. With Izuku thinking, well, it's more like my natural abilities of the heliotrope being boosted by one for all, but I get what he means. As it continues, not really phasing him until he mentions, you know that ridiculous thing on your head? Honestly, it looks hideous. I don't know why anyone would wear something like that, as this actually does get on his nerves, as this is actually the hat itself is actually something that seems pretty important to the eliatrope culture. As he storms up towards him, saying, "What did you say?" Activating Shinso's quirk, brainwashing him. As he begins to walk away out of bounds on Shinso's orders, before he walks out, he is seeing a vision of 8 people. Not really getting a clear view of them, but more like an outline, with one of them looking like All Might. As the energy surges through his body, releasing 8 orbs from his back, with his arms, legs lighting up to a certain degree and markings, as well as his eyes. Thinking that this was just something that happened from that vision. He isn't sure what that was, but he has to focus on the fight now. With Shinso yelling, "What did you do? How did you break free?" As Izuku made sure to keep his mouth shut. With the orb spinning around, he begins to float and blitz towards Shinso, pushing him while creating a portal right behind him, causing him to be thrown out of bounds from the other end of the portal, which, as per usual, causes Shinso to vomit. Which we then hear President Mike state, "Well, I guess he wins," with Midnight confirming it, and President Mike stating, "Is Shinso gonna be okay?" With Aizawa stating, "Yes, it's actually a side effect of people that aren't him or have a similar quirk, I believe, going through those portals. It causes a form of very aggressive motion sickness." As Shinso stumbles away, holding his gut from the vomit session he just had, his classmates said that he did great, pointing at the heroes in the stands who were thinking that Shinso had an amazing quirk, wondering why he didn't get into the hero course with something that could easily capture villains. Causing Shinso to smirk as he tells Midoriya, like in canon, that depending on the results and how they've been rated, people could be sent out of or put into the hero course. As Izuku just smirked, laughing a little bit, and walked away, thinking, "I'll see you there." With that, they begin the other rounds, which Todoroki, like in canon, is pretty angry due to an interaction with his dad, freezing Sero solid with a giant ice pillar, which, let's be honest, is pretty overkill. As he calms down, Izuku is able to de-illuminate himself, meaning he's turning down the glow on his arms and such. With Kilby, after seeing this, remarks, "Interesting. I wonder, does he have a quirk that boosts his natural energy? If so, that would explain it a bit. Normally to fly like that, they keeping that to himself since it is private to the eliatropes." Though Shigaraki remarks, "So, how exactly are we supposed to take him down?" With Kilby smirking, stating, "Oh, don't worry. I'm making a special portal to bring forth 2 entities. There was a bit of a rough start with them, but if I can get them to cooperate, it should help. It will just take some time to get the preparations ready." As Shigaraki isn't quite sure about what he's trying to do. As Shigaraki knows, he was talking with the doctor, preparing a male and female a male and female Nomu, similar to the one in that they used for the USJ, but with some modification to their appearance. which the doctor didn't have any problems up supplying them, just as long as he can get what he offers them. He's been somewhat kept out of the loop. Upon asking his master about it, his master just laughed, stating, "It is something truly interesting. However, I'd rather not reveal the cards we have to you yet, until we have it confirmed that they're viable." As Todoroki accepts this, but is still annoyed. As we go back to the tournament, we now get to Momo and Tokoyami. Unlike as in canon, due to training that he has done with Izuku, using basic combat with a stick and a shield. Once the match starts on Midnight's order, the match begins. Unlike as in canon, she learned that combat isn't just about blocking or attacking, it has to be completely on the move sometimes. Although she knows that it is even more so for Izuku and Asashi, given their heritage and what they are, she figured that she can at least bob and weave, avoiding Dark Shadow and deflecting him a bit. This was going quite well. Unfortunately, she was too preoccupied fighting Tokoyami's quirk to realize that Tokoyami himself began charging in, seeing how Dark Shadow wasn't getting the job done due to all the light weakening him. As he began to attack in unison with Dark Shadow, Momo soon realized that this particular match wasn't really a one-on-one. It was a one-on-two match, given that Dark Shadow had his own personality and thought process. Even if he was living inside Tokoyami, they could still attack separately. Dark Shadow going for the stick that she used to attack, while Tokoyami was going after the shield, causing her to be forced back out of bounds. As he sighs in defeat, Midnight remarks that Tokoyami has won, with Tokoyami remarking, "You fought well. Normally I don't fight using my own body, but it seems as though you were capable of fending off Dark Shadow just fine. Though that is when he is severely weakened. I commend you for pushing me to this," as this does relieve Momo a bit, as she walks off with a bit of pride in herself for forcing Tokoyami to that point, and continues going, as Izuku congratulates Momo, and she does thank him, appreciating the training that him and his dad gave her, as Izuku had to go since other matches were being finished up and had to prepare for round 2, which was going to be difficult. While Izuku was walking down in the hallway, he ended up running into Endeavor, who, like in canon, told Izuku to force his son to use his fire. As this does anger Izuku a bit, seeing Todoroki's dad just think of him as a tool to surpass All Might. He gets angry and tells Endeavor that he can use his power his own way, and he's not a tool for you. As Endeavor scoffs at this after a slight burst of anger, telling Izuku, "You should know your place." He begins to walk off as Izuku creates a portal under him, causing him to fall out of the arena right outside, which then causes him to vomit as he gets up, stating, "I am going to kill that brat." With Izuku heading off with a smirk, stating, "Hope you enjoy that." With that, the competition between Todoroki and Izuku begins. As Midnight gives the order for them to start, obviously Todoroki fires off an ice attack, only to have Izuku pop behind him with a portal and send a blast of energy from slamming two portals together, causing Todoroki to make an ice shield. As he was sliding up the ice pillar that he made, well, the iceberg thing he made, he began using his more heat side to melt a part of the ice to give him some more cover, falling into it. And yes, he does make some outer parts with some holes to drain the water that's being melted. With that, the beam just tears through the ice as he moves out of the way, with Izuku yelling at him, "Honestly, if you're not gonna give it your all, it's not gonna be worth my time." As Todoroki asked if Izuku was asked to do this by his father. Izuku sighed, stating that his father did confront him about this, but I told him to not use his own son as a tool. And then I sent him through one of my portals, which Todoroki already knew what happens to people who are sent through Izuku's portals that aren't him, and thinks that, honestly, I'm actually pretty happy about that part. But Izuku continues stating, "But that has nothing to do with this. You're only using half your power this whole time, and it's insulting to everyone giving it their all. Everyone's struggling to be the best here, and you're just slapping them in the face." As Todoroki is stunned by this, Izuku continues stating, "He doesn't decide what you do with your quirk. You do. It's yours." As he remembers the flashback like in canon and begins using his flames. As Izuku then powers up, not completely enveloped in light, but similar to what you see in the thumbnail, and begins flying over the ice pillar that Todoroki saw. As he then uses a high-powered flame attack, Izuku slams together 4 portals to create a strong energy beam. Once they collide, even though Cementos tried to block them, it is completely destroyed. With the power being backed up from One for All, it does cause quite the boom, sending Todoroki flying out of the ring. And due to Izuku's portals and ability to fly, he manages to stay out of being eliminated, with Midnight remarking that Izuku Midoriya is the winner. With this, Todoroki walks off. As Endeavor is angry at this, he says, "That brat," as he realizes something. Wait a minute, Hisashi. Gritting his teeth, he believes that Hisashi has been going at the hero work nonchalantly, and how easily he could have risen to a higher rank, even surpassing him, only making him more furious. With that, he storms off. As the tournament continues, similar to in canon, as then we get to the match between Ida and Izuku. As Ida charges right for Izuku, Izuku simply makes a portal. Due to him using his reciprocal burst to try to get at him as fast as possible, he can stop in time from the high speed momentum he was using, and ended up going through the portal outside of the ring, causing him to vomit. As Midnight states, Izuku is the winner. Medic, as Ida is helped with some medical staff who offered him something to calm his stomach. As Midnight thinks, I really don't. I really hope I don't go through any of those portals. That looks like it'd be very unpleasant. As Izuku hops through a portal of its own, going back to the stands where his class is. Of course, this is Momo floating and stating, "Oh, don't think that you're such hot stuff just because you sent your friend through a portal," which Kendo then knocks him out, apologizing for his craziness, with them not really being bothered by it, considering they do have a little dude who is much worse. Now with that, the matches continue as in canon again, all the way to the finals, which would be Izuku and Bakugo. As due to Izuku's portals, Bakugo knows that he can't attack him from close range, and he can match him in aerial fight too. So, taking advantage of the week off, he came up with something special. Putting one hand into a cylinder shape and the other one on one side of the cylinder. When Midnight gives the signal for them to begin, he fires off his AP shots, which translates into armor-piercing shots. Izuku dodges them easily by using the portals to jump out of the way. Since he used a good bit of energy in Todoroki's fight, he didn't want to go too far, especially with Bakugo, who might try to push him to the point of overdoing it. As Bakugo continues with the AP shot, Izuku creates a portal to suck in a number of them, and closes it up with their no second portal until one opens up above Bakugo, with him jumping away from it, with the AP shots just raining down on top. He was able to avoid, but as he was rolling, a portal opens, as Bakugo began to use explosions to avoid it getting into the aerial combat. As Izuku then uses his portals to fly, along with the sword and shield, going at Bakugo, swinging at him with the energy sword in non-lethal spots just to get a few cuts. He gets him a good amount of times, though he isn't used to going at someone who isn't able to use a defensive ability like his dad or Momo, as they could technically both create shields. Only thing that Momo makes hers out of actual metal instead of energy. So he's a little bit hesitant when swinging at a living person with the blades. As this continues, Bakugo gets cut over and over, and when he tries to use a big attack of explosions, Izuku responds with a larger energy shield. As Bakugo then tries to use the Howitzer impact, Izuku waits for the very last moment until creating a portal that Bakugo's explosion went into, with another one opening underneath him, sending the force and blast of the explosion straight to Bakugo from underneath, sending him flying, landing on the outside, a bit scorched from his own attack, as Izuku lands using his portal flying. With Midnight stating, "Our champion for the first years of the UA Sports Festival is Izuku Midoriya." As Bakugo is hauled off from his injuries, Ida is talking on the phone with his family, hearing that something awful has happened to his brother. As we go over to Otso City, where we see Stain, who is quick to swing his blade at Kurogiri, who offers him a meeting with his master. Though we quickly leave that as the award ceremony begins, with Bakugo being bandaged up a bit in second place. We also have Izuku obviously in first, and Tokoyami in third, due to Ida having to leave. With this, we continue the following days, where we see the request that Class 1A got, as Izuku ended up getting the most, followed by Todoroki, then Bakugo. Bakugo's aggression issues did cost him a good number of recommendations, or at least some requests and such for the internship. Bakugo wasn't happy about that, obviously, but he couldn't disagree with Izuku winning. The real issue was that he was outvoted by Todoroki, who didn't even get it past the second round of the tournament. Though, after Aizawa explained everything, that even those who didn't get asked for internships will still be able, handing out papers. As Izuku took a look, seeing that his dad's agency was something from, basically he got invited to his dad's agency, wondering if he should go, as they were going to lunch, with All Might showing up, asking to see Midoriya about something. As he looked over at Momo, Ida, and Ochako, they said it was okay, and that he can catch up with them. Following All Might, he sees that he's shaking, as he's trembling. He asked what's going on, which All Might responded with, "Well, you got a request from someone I know, an old teacher of mine, and before you ask, he does know about One for All." Surprising Izuku, All Might gives him his information, stating that he's a hero called Gran Torino, and he is quite good. When my master died, he was the one who taught me how to use One for All. As Izuku was excited, asking why did he request me, with All Might stating, "Well, you were requested mostly because you became interested in your fighting ability and wanted to see what would happen if given an opponent with great experience and sharper instincts." As Izuku thinks, he figures that All Might's old teacher probably wants to test the new holder of One for All, which is understandable if he already knows about the quirk, which he does accept. Once going home, he tells his dad the news about the hero he's going with, getting a request from an old teacher of UA that was there to train All Might, that wanted to test his mettle. Sassi smirked, stating, "Huh, I would have preferred that you would have joined my agency for this, but if someone like that has taken an interest in you, I think it's the best for now." As they do hear a doorbell ring, Sassi went over and opened it, seeing a familiar face, as he states, "Ferris?" As he then the blue-skinned dragon in humanoid form states, "Yes, it has been a while, Asashi." As Izuku looks over, seeing who's that, As Sasaki states, "Oh, yeah, you were, uh, it was a long time ago." As he introduces Ferris, and which Inko says hello to him, with Ferris stating, "Yes, thank you. It is nice to see you again. It's very nice to see you as well, young Izuku." With a handshake, he states that he's actually here for something very important. As they sit down, with Ferris getting right to the point, stating Kilby has escaped the extra-dimensional prison, as Izuku's father looks as though he's just seen a ghost. His face turned unusually pale. Izuku asked, "Who's Kilby?" As he was given a rundown of Kilby, the traitor of their kind, who resulted in his father and many other children eliatropes who needed to be hidden in an extra-dimensional safe house, per se, where they wouldn't age, being stuck there for thousands or hundreds of years. He didn't quite remember. It honestly went for so long that he lost track. And explained some things about how he was defeated by their king Hugo. Ferris states, "Yes, due to this incident, I am only here to inform you. There will be reinforcements coming your way to help out. They will be coming to you directly. Do pay them mind." As he asks, "Wait, what about you?" He looks over at Izuku and smirks. "I thought I'd have to get involved, but it seems your boy's power might be enough to tip the scales in your favor." Smirking, he states, "But don't worry. There are some capable individuals headed your way. As please do give them the best hospitality. I'll leave their identities a secret for now," as he smirked, stating, "We have our own things to deal with. We have Dovises as well as the Elia Q to watch over. Kilby had to remake it, but it was able to do what we needed. And if he tries to go after any of them, it will be problematic." As he walks away, heading off back home. With Hasashi worried, he remarks that what that was. After explaining to Inko and Izuku, who were giving him looks of what is going on. What do you mean? He explains the odd spatial distortion that he felt coming from the USJ, or at least the traces of it, and explained a little bit more about what would happen if Kilby got a hold of the Dophuses and Elia Cube. He'd basically be unstoppable. As this is quite worrying. But he follows with, "But if Ferris thinks that you can help tip the scales, then I believe him. He's one of the 12. So I have to. His judgment is remarkably sound. If he's only sending us some reinforcements, they should be enough to deal with this. I'm just wondering who they are." As we take a look on the other side, where Ferris is reporting to Hugo, who smirks, looking over at 4 individuals, stating he will go there and help Hasashi and his family. If you can, capture him alive. I would prefer that than having to deal with him returning to his Dophus. It might cause even more problems. As they agree, and are making preparations to leave. With that, we continue to the point where Izuku is having his stuff all set as well as his hero gear, heading over to the train station, saying goodbye to his classmates for now, as he looks over to Ida, asking if he's okay. Ida remarks that he's fine. And as he walks away, we see a very serious look on him, as they all went their separate ways. Now then, we'll leave this part here for right now. The next part is where we'll be having Izuku meet Gran Torino. With all that said, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to make sure it's set to all so that you're properly updated. Also remember to look down in the description for merch for all, for the Discord link where I'm helping promote merch, and it will basically be the same kind of thing as shopping on Amazon. It's just that when you use the link down below for the server that will give you more links for things like that on Amazon, it will help promote my channel and help you guys support me. With all that said, I hope to see you next and later.